Hello viewers, Super GT here. Welcome to the final round of the Club 100 Esports Championship. It's been a great series so far, but this video is going to cap off the season, hopefully in style. First off, we have 20 minutes around Brands Hatch, qualified in 6th, that's how you know it's me, and then we'll go to Monza for the final race of the season. But here we go. Brands Hatch, 20 minutes of racing is underway. Let's get it done, shall we? Immediately moving over to the right hand side and therefore the inside. Any deaths to report around turn 1? No, not quite. So everyone's still intact. Going to look around the outside of Marky Boy here. Not quite going to work, but it was worth a try. It was worth a try. Now, Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Not one of the easiest circuits to overtake around, but given that our qualifying was actually the worst qualifying we've had of this season so far, there is work to be done. There's work to be done. Martin there up in 4th, good qualifying from him. Marky Boy in 5th. Let's try and dispatch them as quick as possible. Martin going defensive here up the hill, and that's going to slow us down. You see the top 3 beginning just to edge away already on lap 1. Now into this tricky back right-hander. Martin proving my point that it is a tricky corner. Drifting a little bit wide onto the gravel. And Brands Hatch, of course, is one of those old school classic circuits. Very unforgiving in nature. Surrounded by grass, surrounded by gravel. And those are places you do not want to be. And Marky Boy there just going a little bit wide on the exit of the second to last corner. That's going to give me the momentum to go up the inside into the final turn. So finishing lap number 1 in 4th, you can see the gap there to 2nd and 3rd stands at 1.3 as we go into Paddock Hill Bend at the beginning of lap number 2. So a bit of work here to be done. I'm going to estimate maybe about 15 or so laps in this race, so quite a bit of time here to try to reel that gap in. Unfortunately, we have our 2 main title contenders up in 1st and 2nd, which is just bad news. So I qualified the worst I've ever done, and then your main rivals 1st and 2nd, not ideal. But we're going to do our best here to try to reel them in. You never know around this track. What we're really waiting for is the guys in front to potentially and hopefully start fighting. That's what you need. Some of them to go defensive, one of them to go defensive, and that will slow the whole bunch down, and therefore we'll be able to catch up. That's the aim anyway. So coming up towards Sheen Curve, this corner here up the top of this hill, blind entry, difficult. You've got to be really committed on the power as I just dropped 2 wheels onto the grass, but it doesn't matter too much. You might have seen someone in the background of that shot getting warped into the shadow realm. Might have just spotted that. But we remain in 4th, still about 1.3 seconds away from Trev there in 3rd. But we are going to just whip it forward a little bit. This is the end of lap 5. You can see the situation has developed somewhat. As Roswald, aka Ryan, which is his actual name, is under pressure now and therefore going very defensive. Oh my goodness. Look at how did I... we're going to have to just pause that there and take another look, because I'm not sure. I mean, I must be some sort of wizard. Am I a wizard? Maybe I'm a wizard. That's the only way that could have been saved. Either that or force feedback or direct drive just saved me, I think. Right, so taking a look ahead, actually Trev has managed to jump up into 2nd, get past Nathan. So this track is not impossible to overtake around, just very hard. We're going to look to try to do the same, as now we have a nice train of 4, maybe 4.5 if you include Mark, who's kind of half there. We're going to try to get this move done, but these corners here, not really the best place to just send it up the inside if you're not already alongside. You can't go for a lunge really at these kind of corners, not really long enough in the braking zones. There's not really many corners here which have long braking zones into sharp corners, and therefore overtaking is at a premium, as we've said. But we are on the front group now. That is the crucial thing. At least we're there, we're in the fight, and we can try to go at least onto the podium. That would be nice if we can do that. So, look at that train there. 1, 2, 3 and 4 crossing the line at the end of lap number 6. 4th place, but with definitely some potential here to go for another move. Nathan, poor run through Paddock Hill, goes defensive into Druids. Rightly so. I would have gone for that if he had not covered it. So we remain in 4th. That's what we mean. If you can just cover the few overtaking opportunities on the lap, it is fairly easy to overtake. It is fairly easy to defend. But coming through here, this situation arises here where they both go side by side. So Trev actually with a poor exit. Nathan forced to go to the left. And therefore, this is opening him up to a potential overtake. He's in a bad position here, is Nathan on the left in the green car. Because now I can follow through on the right-hand side through with Trev. He has got a bit of a run there on the outside. But I do manage to get ahead through the apex of the next corner. Now move up into 3rd. Nathan now under pressure from Mark just behind. So that might relieve the pressure on me a little bit. Just running a little bit wide onto the grass there on the exit of Sheen. Pushing my luck maybe. And I'm sure we've all been in the barrier and the gravel on the outside of Sheen Curve at some point in our lives. If not multiple times in our lives. But look at this, all of this fighting has actually opened up the gap. We can fast forward to the end of lap 9, beginning of 10. A very sort of static race for the last couple of laps, although Nathan by this point is right on my tail. And I've got a poor run this time, so I'm going to go sort of half defensive here into Druids. And Nathan doesn't go for the move. Although looking at the radar, he does disappear off to the right-hand side. And that was not a good thing from his point of view. Look at that, there he goes, off to the right. Exit stage right for Nathan into barrier, aka Shadow Realm. And, well, that's a development. One of our main title rivals is in the wall and dropping down the positions. It also relieves some pressure on me. So I can, in turn, take a look at Trev up in front and try to go past him with 3.5 minutes remaining on lap number 12. And looking up the inside, was that move possible? Maybe not. It's going to be really difficult if you're not alongside before the corner to get that done. Plus, you went half defensive. Probably would have ended up in contact. So, 3 minutes to go. And I think my prediction of about 15 laps is wrong. It's going to be more like 14 laps. Yeah, 2 more after this one. So I think it's really a case of just trying to get second now. Roswald, he did have... Oh, he actually made a bit of a mistake there, running a little bit wide there. But he's okay. He did have a couple of laps, maybe 3 or 4 laps in the middle of the race where he was severely under pressure, but he kind of rode the storm and is now looking rather comfortable in the lead. But to the person who isn't looking comfortable is Trev in second. Definitely right on him now. He's got a bit of a poor run there. Could we potentially go for this move? Again, the corner, it just isn't open enough for a big send there. Almost certainly would have resulted in someone's death, and preferably that's avoidable. Across the line we go to begin lap 13. We're looking at the penultimate lap now. Into Paddock Hill Bend, taking the apex nicely. Trying to get a good exit here to size ourselves up. We're moving to Druids, not going to happen. So Trev, a little bit wide on the apex, but it doesn't really matter. I can't really do anything about that. I can't get past him because he's driving well enough. There was a mistake. Didn't quite pan out the way I would have liked, as couldn't really get on the inside on the way out of that corner. Owing, I suppose, to the narrow nature of Brands Hatch. But this is definitely an opportunity now. So, normally I'd go left here, but I'm just going to take the inside no matter what and go full send savage mode. So he moves left as predicted, and I try the move. And yeah, it was worth a try. It was worth a try. I could always back out, and it didn't work. So I have to kind of just keep third. You never know, he might have just given me too much space than what was required. I mean, I only had a nose alongside. He didn't really have to give me too much space there. I wasn't really fully committed to it. But you never know, he might have gave me too much space and I might have been able to get in that way, but it didn't quite work out. What this does do is give Marky Boy now perhaps half a chance of the podium. You can see him there in 4th, just behind. And he's always been lurking somewhat ominously in the near distance throughout the course of this race. Therefore, we do have a double-dimensional problem now of trying to attack for 2nd, but also not going down into 4th. So we're going to try and solve 2 problems here. As we head down the hill for the final time. Opportunity here. No, this corner you just don't overtake around that corner. Bit of a slide through the apex. That's not good. But this next corner, turn 4, this is the one where we really need to get it right. I think Trev going for a later apex here. Tucked into that slipstream drop. It just drifts a little bit wide onto the gravel, onto the grass. Are we close enough to go for this move? No. And I think Trev agrees because he goes onto the racing line and doesn't bother defending. And through this back section of the circuit, we're probably relying on a mistake now. But you never know because this Brands Hatch could easily happen, especially coming up into Sheen Curve, which is the next corner. Roswell looking comfortable in the lead. Let's hope the mistake isn't my mistake. Marky Boy just poking into the radar now. So that's the threat we do have to worry about, I suppose. He is right there. We're coming into the final corner of the final lap. It looks like it's going to be a settled finish here with no position changes, and that is exactly what it's going to be. We're going to finish in 3rd. So, okay, still not a win or a 2nd, obviously, but started 6th place. We moved forward, and not too bad of a race, I think, on the whole. It was actually a very fun race, actually, and I rather enjoyed it. But this gives us, therefore, a 3rd from last grid start for the final race of the season. Starting 11th out of 13, 30 minutes around Monza in Group 3 cars. Let's hope that we can have a nice clean one without getting warped into another dimension at turn 1, which Monza is very well known for, of course. I think turn 1 of Monza is one of the biggest portals and biggest providers of Shadow Realm population. Okay, off the line we go. I'm going to cover off Roswell. He always gets really good starts in that Viper. There's nothing I can do about it, really. So coming up towards the first corner. Moving down 1 position already. Let's see what we have in store. Going a little bit deep. You see the chaos ensuing here. Are we going to have any cars off the track? Yes, we are. It looked like a blue team member getting vaporised onto the gravel. But we move up into now 9th place. Looking around the outside of Nathan, who hasn't had the best of starts. And we're going to look into the second chicane now. The Della Roger. And hold position for the time being. Jack with a poor run out of that second chicane into Lesmo 1. This is always going to be quite a brave move, but he leaves the door open. I'm surprised he didn't defend that a little bit more. Peter running a little bit wide, or getting run wide on the exit of Lesmo 1. We're going to get lunged into Lesmo 2. I didn't expect that move, and that's really messed us up big time. And unfortunately that's given us no tow from the car ahead. I'm going to have to defend here. Got Ryan just bumping us, and at the last moment we're going to take the racing line into the Ascari chicane. So now we need to do a bit of a repair job here, trying to get back into the tow of Nathan. So the 3 leaders in the point standings, so Ryan just behind us there, Nathan ahead, and myself, we are in consecutive positions here, 6th, 7th and 8th, and trying to make our way through the order the best we can. Now onto the main straight. Now Monza, of course, is always a tactical slipstreaming battle, and this race is going to be no exception. There's not much I can do here to cover off Roswell. I am going to move to the right, try to cover the inside. He goes up the outside. We're going to be nice and late on the brakes and be really aggressive on the apex and just absolutely go for it. There was contact there. It was a very brave, strong move, or a defensive move, should we say. But I felt like I was being a little bit timid, perhaps, in earlier races, so we have to get our elbows out sometimes. Into the final corner, Parabolica here, at the end of lap number 2. Into the slipstream now of Tim Clark. who is also in a Lexus. Let's see if this gives us enough of a run. He's also in the slipstream of the car ahead, so I'm not quite gaining on him as much as I'd like. Can we go for a move from 50 metres back? No, not realistically, and it doesn't happen. We have to wait, be patient. Go for the moves when they arrive. It is a long race, 30 minutes, still 26 minutes remaining. And this is a track where you can easily get a penalty, just drift wide. It's a bit like Brands Hatch, it's old-fashioned, and you drift wide, you go onto gravel, for example on the left there. You don't want to be in that. You don't want to be in the grass. You do heavily get punished, and therefore you do have to weigh up the risk versus reward with any overtake that you decide to make. Okay, so Nathan making good progress here. Tim with a slightly slow exit out of Lesmo 2, and I couldn't really capitalise on it, so we have to sort of tuck in. Look at the battle here, really close between about 4, 5, 6 cars. This move I didn't really want to do it, just braking perhaps a little bit later than Tim, but fortunately it all worked out just fine. But now on the exit of Ascari, we can potentially go for this move into Parabolica, pulling out to the right hand side, the inside for the final turn. Roswell coming into the picture, actually giving us a bit of a bump draft there into the final corner, and Tim actually holding that one really well around the outside, and it's a good battle. I mean, this league has just been really good battling. I mean, there have been some rather strong fights where it's been a little bit too strong, there's been contact, but for the most part the racing's just been really good, and I'm sure you'll agree. I hope you have been enjoying this series so far. Into turn number 1, Roswell looking around the outside, not quite going to work, and we settle in for 6th place here at the beginning of lap number 4. So progress has been made. We started in 11th. Roswell did start in 13th. We started last, let's not forget, courtesy of winning the Brands Hatch race. I'm going to go semi-defensive here. I don't really want to let him through as easy as possible, you know. I want to just make sure I'm the one at the front, so by the time we get to the cars ahead, I'm ideally getting a car between us. That would be the most ideal scenario, but unfortunately for me, I'm not quite in the slipstream. This is the hard thing around this track. You kind of have to balance off defending with also going forward and trying to get into the slipstream. It's quite a hard one to manage, and I try and give him too much space there, and incidentally cut the corner. So being, perhaps you could say, too respectful there, so finding the balance quite tricky. Tim here with the momentum decides not to go past. In fact, he actually bump drafts us, which is actually pretty useful. Or perhaps he's just saving a move for the first corner, which is probably the better place to go for it. Are we in the slipstream of Roswell? I think we are just below 0.6 of a second behind. Tim is closer though. Into the first corner, is he going to go for this move? I'm going to kind of half cover it off with a fairly central line. Monza is actually quite a thin track. The width of it isn't absolutely huge. So just putting it kind of in the middle there. A lap later, this is where things begin to kick off. Let's not forget this is a reverse grid race. So you have technically the slower cars starting at the front, and you will eventually catch up and overtakes will begin to happen. So just have a look at the group ahead as I go for this move on Ryan. It all begins to kick off, and I think someone braked way too late and gets teleported back in time. So we gain 1 position plus the 1 on Roswell, so 2 positions gained there. I'm not sure who that was. I think it was, looking at the names, I think it was Cal who overshot or got hit, I'm not quite sure. But it all was very chaotic. Moving up into 5th, so the top 7. Very close here, and I look around the outside. To be honest, I didn't really need to go or I didn't really want to go for this move. Martin just braked really early, and unfortunately for me, that's kind of just not worked out at all. So that's kind of just a weird moment. Ryan actually taking full advantage there, and it's moments like that which races can sway. If that overtake had stuck around the outside, maybe I'd be the one in 4th right now and not in 6th. But I suppose the Super GT magnet and 6th place is in full effect right now, and I'm being very strongly attracted to this position, as always. So that was a bit of a unfortunate moment, and you know, many races can pivot on moments like that, but still long enough left in the race to not worry about it just yet. 19 minutes in fact. We're going to go up the inside here, try this move on Tim, and actually he holds it really well around the outside, like pretty much perfectly judges that, and nothing I can do. If he just perfectly brakes, then well, fair play. We're going to go for this move though into the second chicane. Not much you can do about that one. He doesn't defend it, so we're going to take the position. A little bit of an overshoot, but get the job done up into 5th. And again, we're going to try to get onto the toe. I didn't quite manage it on this lap. So as we cross the line at the end of lap 7, beginning of 8, Tim back up the inside. Nothing I can do. Perhaps I could have defended it on the right. Can we do this one around the outside? Is it possible? Oh, actually an accident there with my teammate, Sam, in the Aston Martin through turn 1. So actually that was a good move. We actually managed to go around the outside and preserve the position, actually, well, gaining position, because Sam in the Aston Martin going wide at turn 1 didn't quite capture how. If it was his own mistake or got hit, I didn't see. But into turn 2, can we finally complete this move? So lots of side-by-side racing here. And we are just going to edge him out on the apex. I thought he would back out of that, and he did, but very late. So there was contact late on in the corner, or late on after the first apex. But that is 4th place, and a bit of breathing room now. This hopefully gives me the space now to move forward. So Ryan, Nathan, 2nd and 3rd. Kirith here in the lead. He's doing really well. Moves into the pit lane. And I decided I would stay out here for one more lap alongside Nathan and Ryan. I'll just try and match their strategy. And in fact, Nathan and I both getting a penalty. And Nathan actually going for a move there into Lesmo 1, defending into Scari. And you can see what this is doing, because I'm getting a lot closer as we round out this lap. So this lap has been a perfect lap for me, really, because I know I've got a penalty, but the penalty actually just goes down by itself. You don't have to worry about that. I've gained maybe a second here. And I'm now right into the slipstream and the toe of these two guys. My main two rivals, I've gained massively on them, courtesy of them fighting way too much. So this is good news for me. I'm right on the back of them as we go into the pit lane. Kirith has got the undercut on us. Moving on to the soft tyre once again. So starting on soft, going on to soft once again. Leaving the pit lane, we will exit behind the pair of them. Kirith there on the left, you can just see him go past. Retaking the lead. So he's got the undercut, and actually a sizable lead at this point, about 2 seconds. So with 13 minutes to go, we have quite a unique scenario here with Kirith in the lead, Nathan there in 2nd, Ryan 3rd, myself 4th. So this race is bubbling up. I mean, this really could go many ways at this time. We're ideally going to have to at least work together to some extent if we want to catch up with Kirith. He's in the Aston Martin. He's doing very well. He's doing a very good race at this point. So we can't just rely on outright speed. We do have to work with each other. This is going to happen. At this point here, quite a bit of fighting. And that seemed to characterise lap 9 as well before we came into the pit lane. A lot of fighting which slowed us down, or slowed down Ryan and Nathan at least. And that's why I caught up with them. It just shows you how much of a difference fighting can make. Immediately here, we are already 3 seconds behind Kirith now, so we've lost a second on this lap already, and this is just slowly handing Kirith the race if we're not careful here. Nathan's serving a penalty, and actually Nathan and Ryan inside each other, Peggy 18, but it happened, so I'm just commentating what I'm seeing. Now, down towards the final corner, again, defensive line from Nathan. He's not giving up this position at all. He's kind of not really worried about the win, to be honest. It's more about just preserving second and trying to beat his title rivals, which unfortunately for him in race 1 he didn't manage to do, but he is doing right now. We're going to look to the outside here as we begin lap number 11. Looking at the outside, there's a drag race between Lexus and McLaren. Am I able to go around the outside? It's probably not going to happen. He's been very fierce in his defence, and there we go. He keeps the position. Nailing his braking point into the first corner. Okay, so now the gap to the lead, 4 seconds almost, 3.8 seconds with only 11 laps remaining. We might only have about 5 more laps here. Ryan looking up the inside, and he he sends it late on the brakes, and I kind of just have to give him the space. That was going to be always messy if I just tried that one around the outside and we'd gone through side by side. So sometimes you just have to concede the position in the name of minimising time loss, and that's what I did there. Played the long game. We still have, again, 11 minutes remaining. I can sit in his slipstream now, and it was this phase of the race where I decided, look, Nathan is getting away here, so I'm going to work with you. We're going to work together. We wasn't working together earlier, and he did this really weird boost. Look at that. I gave him like 20 miles an hour with that boost, and that kind of put me under pressure. It was really weird, that bump draft. It was the strangest bump draft I've seen in a long time. Into the first corner, Trev trying it around the outside, makes contact with Ryan. The Vipers hitting each other, and Ryan actually gathers it up and managed to keep going. So it does really well to not get sent. But we go back to our teamwork here, and again keep working with him, and we are slowly but surely gaining on the lead. I get the fastest lap there, 46.0. I haven't managed to get a fastest lap so far this season, so that's good. That's worth an extra point. That could be crucial. So into the first corner, not going to go for the pass. We are working together. We are now 2.4 seconds behind Kirith in the lead, so it is working. We are gaining, and we just need maybe 1 or 2 more seconds, maybe 1.5. Just get into the toe of Nathan. We are into the toe of Nathan now. At the beginning of lap 15, he goes for a very late defensive move against Ryan into the first corner, but you can see that gap coming down ever so slightly. 4 minutes to go. I would say 3 more laps. We're going to do 17 laps in total. Down the back straight, we are all within a second now. Top 4 separated by 0.8 seconds. You can see that on the screen. That is what 0.8 seconds looks like. And through Parabolica, end of lap 15. My goodness, what a race this is. And this league has just produced such great racing, and this is a great example of it. The format is really good with this reverse grid race. Kirith going defensive all the way to the right hand side. It's going to be 3 abreast nearly, 2 abreast. Ryan moving to the left, 3 abreast into turn 1. And it looks like Nathan is going to take the lead then. Ryan around the outside. I'm going to get the cutback, switchback, concertina, epic move on the way out of the corner. Get it done. And now the top 3 in the championship are the top 3 on the circuit. Kirith there holding on for dear life. He did pit 1 lap earlier. His tyres are 1 lap more worn. Into this corner here, he just puts up the inside, and it was kind of an awkward move, and one that I felt like didn't need to be made, but it was made, so I kind of had to drift a little bit wider of the apex than I would have liked to kind of make sure there wasn't contact. But we're going to try and pull away here from Kirith if possible. He's in the Aston Martin, which is a really good car in terms of the straight line speed. And of course we all know that Monza is the temple of speed, so his car is still very suited to this track. Nathan in the lead, going defensive. That McLaren, I don't think it's all that suited to this track. And Ryan actually managed to go around the outside into Ascari. Good move. Now, through Ascari, the top 4 here, we are separated by half a second. This is ridiculously close. The next lap is going to be the final lap. Nathan looking for a move on the outside. Kirith looking for a move on me. I just move inside just to fend him off. Nathan getting run wide here, and I'm going to take a nice tight apex. And actually, look at this. I'm going to go from 3rd up into 1st at the end of the penultimate lap. Beginning the final lap now, moving up into the lead. A drag race between Lexus and Dodge. And I don't quite have the speed here, actually, surprisingly. The Lexus not the best in the straight line. Ryan there on the outside. Can we keep this position? Nathan trying around the outside. Oh my goodness, Ryan just keeping barely control of his car and moving up into the lead of the race. Look how close it is at the beginning of lap 17, the final lap of the race. Kirith still in the picture, trying to get the job done, trying to get onto the podium. He's on the podium right now. Coming up into the second chicane. Kirith goes for a move from so far back, and again it was kind of like the last lap. I had to give him the space. It was an awkward move, and I don't think it was ever going to work, unfortunately. And I moved down a position. Nathan now drifting wide. He's going to go onto the grass. We're going to move back into second. I'll be close enough here to get into the toe. I'm 0.8 behind. That's so unfortunate. I'm not quite in the slipstream. Ascari is going to have to be absolutely perfect if I'm going to have a chance of winning this race. We haven't won a race all season, and our final chance of doing that is disappearing before our very eyes here. For Ascari, it looks like Roswell's done it. He's more than a second ahead. That's unfortunate. I felt like if I could have just weathered the storm for the first half of this lap, I would have had a very good chance of winning this one. But that move at chicane 2 just unsettled our momentum, and we're going to have to come through into second. Still though, from 11th, a really good race. Ultimately it was a really good fight, a really good battle, and it's been a really good season. I've really enjoyed it. Crossing the line to finish in second place, and Roswell winning once again, so 2 wins for him in this final round of the championship. He did really well, and you see the final standings there. Those are the results of today's race. Finishing in second, we actually managed to get the fastest lap as well, so that's good. First fastest lap and our only fastest lap. That is the driver's standings at the end of the championship. I was only 1 point away from second, finishing third. Ryan winning, and fair play, he deserved it. I think the best driver on average for every round, and more than deserved to win the championship. Finishing in third and finishing in fourth, the team quadrant in the team standings. But that is the end of this season. I hope you've really enjoyed it. It's been fast and furious, but great racing ultimately. Slightly better than the daily races, I would say. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed racing it. So thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time. Goodbye.